And we are live. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. Thank you for tuning into the stream today. Let me fix this. This is a little messed up. Okay. We're good. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out today. Happy New Year. Happy freaking New Year. We're in 2019. I don't know how you guys feel about 2018. It was a pretty good year for me. An excellent year. I don't know. A lot of people would probably think otherwise, but thank you so much for tuning in today. This is the year of Classic. Classic WoW will be out this year, and we have many years of fun ahead of us. So I'm really excited. This is PvP Workshop episode number 7. Real quick before we get started, I just want to let you know I'm back. I'm feeling high speed. I'm feeling dangerous. I'm ready to go. Very rejuvenated. I took a couple weeks off for the holidays, but now that it's the new year, guys, it's really gonna start ramping up like crazy as we start getting closer and closer to Classic. So I'm here for you. I'm excited. Let's introduce let's reintroduce our guests on the show today. The tried and true Takanashi and Sorrana. How you guys doing?
Hello.
Hey guys.
So how was your guys' New Year's? We'll just start with just a little update because it's been a little while. Do anything cool?
Yeah, Sorrana, you go ahead.
Okay. Well, my New Year's are always chilled. This time I don't know, hang out with a few friends. Not too much. Not too much drinking as a German this year. Usually we drink a lot during New Year's Eve, but this time it was kind of chilled on my side.
That's good. Do the Germans go pretty hard usually with
Yep.
the drinking? I'm
And
sure.
I saw a lot of them in front of my window on the street, going too hard maybe.
Going too hard. Yo, where are you in Germany again? You're in a city, right?
Yeah. It's called Halle. It's Eastern Germany.
Oh, gotcha. Cool. So pretty laid back. Yeah, same here. I had a pretty laid back New Year. What about you, Taka?
Yeah, the same old working on weapons of mass destructions. And
Okay.
shit like
You're talking about your arms, right? Your biceps, right?
yeah, taking over the world.
Yeah.
The same old. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty crazy for you. I mean, so if you guys don't know, Taka runs a gym, dude. He's over in Norway, right?
yeah.
In Norway. So as you guys know, man, it's January 1st, all those New Year's resolutions. Maybe we can share some New Year's resolutions, some classic WoW New Year's resolutions, by the way. But, New Year's resolutions at the gym, all the fat bodies getting excited, trying to do the body transformation. So he's a busy man. Yeah, so...
Everyone's gonna buy a gym membership card this week.
Oh, yeah. Hey, yo, Taka, do people come into your gym and have people came into your gym and played WoW? Like, have they played WoW before? I don't know. That's such a random question, but have you run into anyone?
Yeah, I mean a couple of guys, and it was kind of funny. It was this person that I kind of helped, like it has to be almost 4 years ago when Nostarius was up and running, and I talked about it, to him about everything in life and whatever, trying to get him back on his feet and shit. And it turned out that he was like playing on Astarius, and
Damn.
I told him, well, I play a little bit there as well. And he said, so what's your name? I'm like, Takanashi, and he was like, okay.
Wait,
yeah,
he knew?
I know who you are. Yeah, but I mean, it was kind of fun. The world is such a fucking small place, and yeah, I met actually people many times in life that played WoW, and it turned out they played on the same server as me, and just people knowing who your guild were and shit like that is, it's cool, right? It's the world is such a small place. It's fucking crazy.
That is so crazy, bro. I don't think I've ever met anyone randomly who's played classic WoW
I think
as well.
LA is too big. You have to move somewhere smaller, like
Yeah.
Alaska or something.
Yeah, dude, I'm hyped as fuck. So What do you guys have as New Year's resolutions over? I guess we don't even have to, keep it like WoW related or something. Do you guys have any New Year's resolutions that you'd be down to share?
Well, I mean, I have this rule. It probably sounds cheesy, but I have this rule that I never make resolutions, whatever. If I need to change my life, I should just fucking do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm the kind of person that's either. I mean, we talked about this before, Carlos. Being Mr. 100%.
All in or all out. Yeah, that's some gangster shit, dude. No resolution.
Either I do it or I fucking don't. So I need to just, when I get a feeling, I need to just get the ball in motion and start that shit right away. Because I know that you might feel differently tomorrow. And I mean, when you hear that Rocky music going on in the background, you want to throw some punches, you just have to roll with the music.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So you're a no resolution kind of guy. You just go hard all the time. That's some gangster shit. How about you, Sorrana?
Yeah, it's basically the same. I don't believe in stuff like that. I mean, if you have to change anything, then you should do it right away, not like wait until the end of the year or the beginning of the next year. So basically, I don't do stuff like that. I always tell myself I want to improve in some kind of way, no matter what it is.
That's that German efficiency, man. They don't fuck around. No corny shit. They're just straight to business. They get it done right now. I'm a little bit on the more corny side. I like my I like the little traditions and festivities and stuff like that. So I have some New Year's resolutions. I have WoW related ones as well. On the non-WoW front, I want to improve my Spanish. I want to start hitting that Rosetta Stone, listening to those podcasts. I want to learn a little bit more guitar and piano. I can play a little piano right now, but I want to get better at it. On the WoW front, though, on the WoW front, let's say it comes out summertime, so we'll have 6 months of this year. I'm getting every class to 60. I'm gonna main Warlock. I'm gonna get at least a rank 10. That's my goal. And then basically start a successful guild with Taka, man. Those are the big three right there. So
yeah. So if I could give anyone like tip, if they if I would give myself or make New Year's resolutions or in general, I would just do something like, okay, whatever I did this past year, the coming year, I'm gonna do one thing better. That's it. Only one thing better, and then the next year I'm gonna do the same thing, right? Because I mean, let's face it, it's hard when you go 100%, and that's pretty much why we tend to fall off the wagon. To just take a small step, and then suddenly it's a part of your life, and then you take the next step, and yeah.
That's good advice. That's one thing, like to piggyback off that. This is something that I was talking to my fiance about. It's really simple and broad, but pretty much every year, you should just try and make it the best year ever of your existence. You just try and beat out all the previous years because you've learned, from your mistakes in the past years. You know what was a misplay, what was good, and just every year you strive to make it the best year of your life, all the way till you tap out, pretty much. So that's it. All right. So welcome, guys. Again, we are going to move into some of these PvP talking points, but real quick, I know probably a good amount of you. Maybe you're watching this stream for the first time, you're new to the channel, whatever it might be. Just going to take a quick second to reintroduce our guests, and I guess I'll myself as well. Maybe Taka and Sorrana, you could share a bit about your PvP experience in the past. So we start with maybe Sorrana, go ahead.
Okay. I'm really bad at this, but I started, I don't know, some kind of friend back in school got me into classic and vanilla WoW, and pretty fast I recognized that fighting against AI and computer is boring, so I switched to PvP, and I was really bad at that point. And then when it came on, like the add-ons and so far, I still played World of Warcraft until I think end of Wrath of the Lich King. I improved a lot when I got older and so far, and at the end of Wrath of Lich King, the game just was so different for me that I didn't enjoy it anymore, and I quit. And at some point, like 4 years ago, I found Nostalrius, and I was like, wow, there's something like vanilla WoW at this point. I can play this again. And I just started doing it, found a few friends, and I went hardcore on ranking with my rogue I created. So I went for rank 14 on this one. After the Nost shutdown, the Lightsoap project came up with Lightbringer's server, where I ranked my mage on Horde to rank 13. And now on the Northdale server, I keep it chilled, and I'm not ranking actively there, just playing a little bit, having fun.
Gotcha. And you're on the PvP front. You got to rank 14. Was it on Nost, or is that a different server?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to know it exactly, it's until rank 12 on Nost, because it shut down at that point. And the rehost after that was from Elysium Project, but they still named it Nost PvP. So I finished my ranking on the Nostalrius / Anathema server 14. But it's the same. Well, it was the same kind of people who played there.
Gotcha. So
and
you got
after that,
rank 14 on Rogue, and then I think there was one other class you played as well, too, to like rank.
Mage.
Was it Mage? Oh,
Mage 13.
13. Holy shit. Okay, so Rogue 14, Mage 13. Goddamn. Was the Mage on Anathema or the Stars?
That was Lightbringer, the server after Anathema, the fresh one, so to say.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha. Cool. How about you, Taka?
Yeah, I mean, I was also introduced to WoW through a friend pretty early in the game when it launched in Europe, and I was playing a lot of these like real-time strategy games and those type of games. And but I mean, when I hit WoW, it just felt so fucking. It was so perfect, you know. It was natural and felt good, and I don't know. I'm just happy I started out with this game, because you know there's a lot of other MMOs that, you know, if I just had a look at them, I would never touch an MMO again. You know, it's just the look of WoW that it's you know, it's appealing, it's sexy, it's just, you know, it's nice to look at and visual, and the whole architecture is fucking amazing, you know. And so I mean, I kept playing the game. The guild was a hardcore PvE guild and hardcore PvP guild. You know, what you call a Grand Marshal guild. And people went to 14 and 13 and rank 10. I went to rank, I think, Commander on my Priest, and rank 13 on Druid. And my Warrior, I didn't play that much in retail. So it was only
you got to rank 13 in retail?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's awesome. I actually didn't know that. Or maybe I did, but
yeah. No, I think we only talked about the Priest. But yeah, it was like one summer when nobody were playing, and you could rank really easy. You know, that was how you did it. The easiest way, because you were capping out on, I think, like 450k honor, something like that, you know, in a week. So it wasn't that much work. And my Warrior, I didn't pick that up until TBC a lot. So yeah, I tried Warrior, and I played like Sorrana until end of Wrath of Lich King. I was really hardcore. I mean, we did the whole heroic Lich King, and we did you know, I don't know if you remember Trial of the Crusader. You had
isn't that considered like the worst raid ever made or something?
Yeah, but I mean, we did that shit without dying. You know, what you call you had these achievements, and we were pretty much an achievement whoring guild. It was, you know, it was fun because it pushed you a lot, and we did heroic Lich King, 5-man first on the server and shit like that. But I was mostly into arena, and then a Cataclysm hit, and I kind of leveled to 85. But I mean, just level to 85 made me, you know, why 85 is such a weird number. Yeah. So I quit and found Phoenix server, and I started to play the warrior there. And I pretty much played the private server scene since then. But
When was that, by the way? I always hear about Phoenix, but if you guys don't know what Phoenix is, Phoenix was the predecessor to even NOS. Like I found these classic servers come NOS, like the vast majority of people. But dude, you were playing before NOS. That's crazy. Do you know what year that was? If you had to guess.
it had to be like 2010 or 2000, yeah, something like that. I think 2010 or
Damn.
yeah,
So that was during Lich King,
yeah,
I think. I think Lich King was
yeah.
out during that time. That's
I
crazy.
think yeah, they had like first servers called War Song or something, and then they made this fresh server called Emerald Dream, and I think Emerald Dream is where a lot of people play, and I mean it was a good server, but nothing like Nost, because Nost, when that shit hit, you had so many people play there, and you really got this new feel of how classic would be. It was just amazing.
Yeah.
And people talk about Nost not having the perfect code and blah blah blah, but the game is not about. I mean, of course, it's about some kind of code and shit like that, and but I mean, it's an MMO. So what makes it great is everything else that we play and interact with other people, the world PvP, the dragon slaying and all that shit. And I mean, if there's only 20 people on the server, you can have a classic perfect scripted server, but if there's only 20 people, who cares,
Yeah,
so
it's all about the community.
For
Yeah.
sure. Now, so you got 13 on a druid, you said. Also on a priest, you got something on classic. During NOS, you got the 13 on a warrior, right?
Yeah, 13 and like 98%.
98%.
Yeah.
That was the meme. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Sorrana and Taka actually ranked together on NOS, and this is where this beautiful friendship was forged. So that I found that pretty cool. And actually, a lot of the other content creators, surprisingly, you ranked with and have been in touch with. So that is, yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, we were. I don't know if we were lucky, but yeah, it was kind of cool. We had a lot of nice people who just ranked together, and I don't know. We kind of found each other, but yeah, like people like Talasavo and a lot of other guys.
Mm-hmm.
That was,
Tails, you guys are
Also,
ranking.
also the Horde players, man. I'm
yeah, also Horde,
friends
yeah.
with so many Horde players we played against back then.
Yeah.
So such nice guys.
That is cool. All right, I'll make mine quick. I'm kind of noob compared to these guys. I did play Retail Classic. I was a bit of an altaholic. Had a 60 Paladin, 60 Hunter, 60 Warrior. Got the Hunter to rank 8. Pretty proud of that. Yeah, pretty much, probably like rank 3 or 4 on the other ones, just fucking around. But I had some pieces, and then pretty much played every expansion in some capacity all the way up to where we're at right now. Even all like the ones I didn't like so much, I'd just buy it, play it for a couple months, and then kind of burn out of it. But that's pretty much it for me. I mained Hunter 3 times, 3 different classic servers. Once during retail vanilla, then on some of the private servers as well. Found classic through Nostarius. Kind of forgetting when that came out now, but that is pretty much it for me. So our next point is I have the class icons up here in front of you guys. So Sorrana's primarily a rogue, Taka's primarily a warrior, I'm primarily a hunter, even though I'm switching to warlock. I'm classic. I want to ask you guys, and I don't know, this is a sensitive topic for me. You guys know that I feel a little iffy towards rogues. Rogue's probably my least favorite class. I get a lot of flack about that, but maybe we can talk about why you like maining these classes. Is it purely class balance, or is it, do you just think they're the strongest? Do you really enjoy the play style? What do you think does it for you? Especially with you, Sorrana, like you got a mage, the 13. In my mind, I'd be like, why wouldn't I just play the mage? The mage seems way more fun. I don't know. Maybe you can explain why you like
the
rogue.
decision was hard. I mean, the how I got into rogue is kind of embarrassing story, because when my friend got me into classic WoW, I was playing a priest because I was like all about helping other people, healing them all the time. And pretty quickly I discovered then when you're leveling alone, healing spec is pretty shitty to level. and there's not much people around, you can heal up, especially with those low player caps back on those servers. So I re-rolled at level 30. Freshly, when I came into STV, I re-rolled to Rogue. I just thought myself, I don't know, man, this is just so slow going, and what can you do to deal a little bit more damage?
You re-rolled when you got to Stranglethorn Vietnam?
Yeah, but
That's
it wasn't
so
that bad on
funny,
my
dude.
server. I had no idea, so I didn't even experience the Vietnam part of it.
Oh, okay. So you didn't get traumatized by rogues and want to play one from getting ganked
No,
over and over again.
no.
Okay. That would have been funny though.
So the decision was entirely like, what can deal more damage than my healing priest I did at that moment, and I had no idea about the game. So don't judge, okay? So I had absolutely no idea about the game, and then I heard there's this one class that can be invisible, and what can be better than not being seen by anything, right? So
yeah.
I took this, and then I heard they deal insane burst damage, and then the seal was dealt, and this. Like the deal was sealed, so that way around. Sorry. And from there on, I just played Rogue all the time because I was convinced I'm too bad for anything else. I just stick to my guns and did whatever I did in the past. So I couldn't do anything more wrong than playing Rogue, right? That was always my philosophy. And when I was finishing rank 14 on my Rogue, I was like, okay, you accomplished something with this class. And the hardest part was fighting mages all the time. So why not just start a mage and see how it is from the other side, so you could improve your rogue gameplay when you know your enemy better, right? So that's why I started playing a mage, basically. And it was really hard to deal with rogues that time as a mage. And I was always like those mages, they handle me so well when I'm playing rogues, so it should be really easy. But once I faced rogues on my mage, it was kind of a struggle to do so. I mean, I got used to it at some point. Obviously, you improve as more as you play, but it was hard from both sides. So that's why I still think it's the most fun dual setup for a rogue and a mage to fight against each other.
Interesting. I mean, there's a huge chunk there though. Like you started the rogue and then you went to rank 14. That's a massive undertaking. Like it's were you ranking? Did you ever feel frustrated with rogue? Did you ever feel like it was like the hype, the initial hype of like going into rogue, invisible, massive damage, like that kind of fades, right? That kind of fades. You kind of realize you're not going to be killing good players in a stun lock anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Did that start to fade, or was it you feel pretty good about it the whole way through the 14?
Yeah, at some point I just realized that it's not about the zook pressing that one button and two-shotting everything. I mean, that happens to like worse equipped players, of course, and that's fun. And it's the same when you pump pyro someone and one-shot him, right? That's those 1 in a million moments where you have some fun. Yeah. But obviously, if you play and rank the whole day with your class, you have those moments where you're just frustrated. When that one hunter kites you across the field, every time he sees you, he has the pad macro, so the pad just runs to you. You cannot stealth, you have to wait for vanish, and then you don't have vanish, and you just get frustrated all day, and it pisses you off so much. And then there's this one good druid that always gets a flag out, and you can't chase him, and you have to rely on your team, and maybe they think you suck because he went out again, and so on. So that's those bad days you have as a rogue. But on the other side, it's sometimes you just make those. You are capable of doing those 6 solo plays sometimes in the Warsong. When you just open that one moment when the druid is out of shape and you open on him and he has nothing and you can just cold blood eviscerate him to death or whatever. This one moment you are capable of just deciding the game. That's what keeps you alive. So
is that your favorite thing about rogues? Like the idea of being a big playmaker like that? That does seem pretty cool the way you describe it.
Yeah, I think you are one of those key classes. They only have one of you in the battleground, but they always need that one guy you play, that one class. So you gotta make it count, and if you do make it count, then those people will obviously like you.
Do you
'cause
find the
did
playstyle
good job.
really fun comparatively to other classes? Just the actual playstyle, the way it pans out, you know? Because some classes I found just throughout my history playing WoW that they're really viable for a certain time. I'm not really speaking specifically about Classic, but sometimes flavor of the month arena comps, like you'll have to re-roll. I had to play Wrestler Shaman for a while. I didn't really enjoy it. Like, it was really strong, but sorry, Egregious, if you're listening. I probably just triggered the shit out of you. He's like a diehard Shaman player. But do you enjoy it? Is it really fun playing Rogue?
Yeah, the thing that gets me the most is the control of the fight. You most likely always have the control in your duels, and that's the same thing I appreciated about Mage so much. You are always in control. You decide what happens next. Basically, if you play like a warrior, you have to react on what your enemy does. But as a rogue or as a mage, you can be the one that decides what happens, and your enemy has to react. So you're always that one step ahead, and I think that was a pretty nice thing I could play. And if shit goes wrong, you're invisible, man. Right? You're
Yeah,
it's
maybe.
You
Yeah.
just go.
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. No, thanks for that. All right. Let's move on to Taka. So you play Warrior. There's a lot to unpack here. So, you know, first of all, do you enjoy the Warrior playstyle at 60? Do you think it's really fun? Is it like your soul class? Like, is it your, you know, what do you like most about a Warrior? Just share with us your thoughts on it.
Well, it's like, I mean, we talked about it a couple of other times, and we discussed what's the easiest class to get into, and you know, I mean, the warrior is very easy to get into, but yeah, as I don't know if everyone knows, but I'm writing this warrior class guide,
Bible.
and yeah, Bible,
Religious text. Yeah.
and I mean, what you have to realize that the warrior is so fucking complex. It's almost ridiculous, you know. And I don't know. It's an insane class if you want to challenge yourself. And the only thing that's kind of frustrating is the early game, you know, because you're so dependent on support, having a backup healer, and you're really out there. You know, other classes have oh shit spells that they can use against you, and the warrior really don't have that, you know, oh shit spell to save your life or whatever, and you're depending on other things early game. But I mean, I'd say that making this fucking guide is I mean, I talked about maybe try some other class in Classic, but as I'm writing this guide, I understand that I can never play another class in my life.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I have to give the warrior another shot, and I mean, I have to see if Classic. I mean, because we all know that Classic won't be nostalgious, you know. I mean, I hope it's gonna be the same thing when it comes to the whole social aspects and stuff like that. But the boss mechanics, and I mean, what did they not get right? You know, if you ever been in Naxxramas in vanilla, you know that I mean, there's some good fucking players out there, but you're not gonna fucking go and one shot all these bosses like you do on the private servers, because I don't know, I just feel like they're missing something. And even if people know a lot of shit today, there's hopefully a lot of things that they missed, and we're gonna find out what's missing in Classic.
Do you find it really fun though? Like, do you? I mean, I guess you can't play any other class, so it's kind of a dumb question, but you enjoy it, right?
Yeah, I mean, what I enjoy about the warrior is that, I mean, you have to realize that you have these real nemesis, you know, classes that's supposed to kill you no matter what, and just feeling like you know, you're the underdog. it's a cool feeling. You know, you go into this fight and you're swinging right and left hooks, and you know the other person expects you to lose, and so you have to think of it like, no matter if you lose or win, you know, you still came out on top. So winning certain duels, certain fights is a real challenge, and the more challenge it is, I think the more fun it is, you know.
Hmm.
But I think that the warrior is so complex that um, I don't know. The of course it's a different class than rogue and the mage. The rogue and the mage are so, you know, there's so many mechanics and shit like that, and the warrior probably doesn't have that many tools, right? But then you have engineering, which is like this third arm and the fourth arm, and you know, if you use those things in your advantage, it's you know, it's such a fucking cool class, and yeah.
Definitely, man. So as for myself, I'm going to share a little bit of the reason why I'm going to go Warlock super quick. You know, I have main Hunter 3 times, and I do appreciate and love the Hunter. I'll probably always be a Hunter at heart. But man, everything about Warlock is so cool to me. I love the defensive nature of it. I like the defensive kind of turret nature. I like the idea of being able to apply pressure through dots. Some people that doesn't appeal to them. You know, applying a bunch of dots and running around and whittling someone, rotting someone to death doesn't seem that cool. To me, I like it. I like playing that value game. I like being able to... I really value self-reliance super high, just in my life in general and in WoW. I like to be strong independently out in the open world. I think Americans in general, that's a core tenet of our identity to be self-reliant. So for me, Hunter and Warlock are big, you know, very appealing to me. If someone comes and jumps you out in the open world, you can handle business, you know, you can take care of them. And some of the classes are a little bit more group, you know, dependent on teammates to come help you out. So that appeals to me a lot on Warlock. The pre-raid bis is pretty easy to get. The leveling experience is smooth. You're definitely a tier 1 leveler. When it comes to ranking and doing the PvP thing as a Warlock, you don't need rank 14 to be full bis, which appeals to me because I might not have as much time as some other people. So that's really cool. I love that. I love that caster, that spell cleave or caster cleave pre-made combo you were talking about, guys. Oh man, I can't wait to run that with a couple affliction locks and some shadow priests running around. That sounds really cool to me. Also, based on the limited experience I have and what insights people have shared with me, you know, a Soul Link Warlock is pound for pound the heavyweight champ when it comes to 1v1 dueling and stuff like that. And their downsides, from what I've heard, is that in a PvP context, in a pre-made context, people can just ignore you. You're not putting out enough pressure to be that much of a threat. So even though you can survive a long time, that's one of their limitations. But that's okay to me. I like the flexibility in the specs as Warlock and in the talent trees. Just really, really enjoy it. I love orcs. I love the whole flavor and RP aspect of it. Being an orc Warlock sounds really cool. So that's what I'm rolling with. Yeah. All right. So.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, they arranged these dueling tournaments on our server, on you know, in vanilla, and in the finals every fucking time you had 2 Soul Link Warlocks. I mean,
Or hunters. I think hunters won a lot. Those.
But and Shadow Priests, but Shadow Priests, they had no chance against Warlocks. So I don't know. Yeah, I think nothing has changed when it comes to that. Those are just fucking broken classes, you know.
Yeah.
The Soul Link Warlock. Yeah.
I just think Classic does such a good job of making you jelly of other classes. Like, you could be playing any class, and I swear, even 15 years later, you'll be out in the open world, and you'll just be like, fuck, look at that druid. He looks like he's having so much fun. Damn, like, maybe I should play druid, you know? Like, especially when you start leveling, you know, you get to, like, the mid-30s or 40s, and you're like, fuck, dude, my class is kind of whack, you know? But, I don't know, that's kind of what keeps it so fresh. So fresh. But yeah, so let's move on to, I guess, the first real substantial point about Classic WoW PvP here. Friggin' 40 minutes in. Class power spikes by patch. So this is something you were talking to me about, Taka, a few minutes before bringing it up. I hadn't really thought about it too much, but the thought is that different classes will have different power spikes throughout the patch progression throughout Classic, right? And the big one that comes to mind is people say that, you know, spellcasters, you know, towards the end of vanilla when Nax starts coming out and stamina starts getting crazy, tend to do better and scale better than melee. That's the big one, but I think it gets more sophisticated than that. Do you guys have any initial thoughts?
Well, yeah, Sorrana, you go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, when was it, Taka? A few days ago, 3 days ago, we were bored, and I was streaming on my Northdale Rogue, and there was nothing going on, so it was kind of boring because it's AV weekend, and you can't go Warsong or Arathi Basin because it's just not opening. And there was no one in World PvP I could kill, so Taka asked me if I would come to the old Lightbringer server where my rank 14 Rogue is, and just have some fun in Warsong. So we tried it there, and it didn't open as well, but we found some duels in front of Ironforge. And all those people on Lightbringer are most likely Bliss equipped now, with full Nax gear and stuff. Now, my guild quit pretty early, so I have still my rank 14 weapon, but not those crucial trinkets from Nax. I have like 3 or 4 pieces tier 3, that's it. So we dueled a little bit, and I'm still on this. I was still in this feeling of Northdale, you know, when your rogue could just crit someone and do the 1.2k, and it just drops the health bar of your enemy. And once I tried to duel a warrior on Lightbringer there, I critted with my backstab and was like 700. With a rank 14 dagger funny, on a warrior, it was insane. And the thing was, once I lost my crippling poison on him to kite him, he just closed the gap and instantly wrecked me in like 3 or 4 hits, and I couldn't do anything. So the whole meta with this kind of new gear progression changed so hard and so badly in certain duel setups that I was just not used to it, and it took me like, how much, 10 duels or something to get used to it, and then I won against all duels against him later on. But it took me so long to get used to this damage he deals and the playstyle that you couldn't just go in and tank this or that hit because it's not that important, right? Just wrecked me.
And that's something that I mean, people asked about the Shadow Priest, you know, because most people, they look at the stuff like stamina, they look at spell power and stuff like that, but so many people don't realize what armor does for your class. You know, armor is insane. It's not the same thing as resilience gear, but it's very close. And the thing with armor is that it has no mitigation, you know. Not mitigation. I mean, there's no diminishing returns. You know what I mean? So it's like, I wrote. I'm talking about this in the guide, but to make it easy for people to understand that, you know, you can reach a certain point where things doesn't make sense anymore. You know what I mean? Because there's too much diminishing returns that after a certain level, this stat or whatever it is, you know, doesn't apply to improve your character. But armor has a very, very high ceiling, and people think that 1% damage mitigation is 1%, but it's not. You know, when you're calculating, you have to realize how close you're getting to your max, and sometimes when you get a certain amount of armor, even if it says 1%, but in reality you're reducing or I should say you're improving with maybe 50%. You know, it's like Rekful talked about it on one of his streams. To make it simple, like, people don't understand that when you're stacking stuff like resilience or whatever, it's like you're mitigating a certain percent of your incoming damage, but when you're reaching stuff like, let's say 99%, and you're getting 99.5, you're actually improving with 50%, because there's only 1% left to cover. So that 0.5% is the same thing as 50%. And so stuff like armor is fucking huge. And
so 50 armor is always going to be worth 50 armor up until a very, very high ceiling.
Yeah,
so like armor cap is almost like unobtainable. So 50 armor will continue to provide the same.
There was like a picture in the warrior Discord of this fucking shadow priest who had a little bit more than 6k armor because he was using the class trinket from BWL. He was stacking other shit who had high armor, and that's a fucking tank. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
6k
With
armor
fire,
on the priest.
Like inner fire and BWL trinket against a rogue in a duel is like you can't kill this guy. It's impossible. You have to blind the trinket and get around it.
That's insane.
It's impossible.
So do you think do you feel that more than like increased health pools and stuff, or maybe it's a combination of both, Sorrana? Like when you were dueling, do you really feel it when when there's a high armor target?
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
it's like the two is very synergetic. Health and armor works very, very well. I think better than anything else together.
Huh.
But when you're doing the math, increased health pool means more than increasing the armor. But the most perfect scenario is to, of course, increase both of them. And that's what you see when you're hitting max Ramas and shit like that. On warriors, they have crazy armor, and they even have defensive, plus defense on, and they have agility on every fucking item. So
to tie this all back into the main point too, with all this, it's going to be physical damage dealers are going to be doing less damage due to these increased health and armor, whereas when opposed to spell damage, there's no real mitigation other than resistances against that, right? I mean, the spells are just hitting at full capacity. So
he's multitasking.
Yeah, I'm multitasking. But yeah, that's true. I mean, if you stack armor, that is nothing doing against any spells. And as a rogue, this is why you wanna use, for example, poisons in your offhand that deal actual damage, like instant poison. I hate deadly poison, but you could do it against a warrior, maybe, but your blind would fuck up, so I wouldn't recommend it. But instant poison is a huge DPS deal in a duel against a warrior, just because it's not diminished by the armor he's wearing. So that's a huge deal. I always think about when I duel a warrior, that the right poison is on the offhand. Also, you have this trinket from Dark Moon Fair you could use, which is the Maelstrom card that can proc a lightning or whatever it is, like a 300 nature damage proc or something from your hits.
Dark Moon card, and Maelstrom, right?
Yeah, that helps a lot as well.
Wow.
Things like that.
Now, just as a aside, just out of curiosity, how do you feel about the warrior versus rogue duel matchup?
It's fun. I like it. It's always that little mind game. I mean, you have your little bar from Nature's Enemy Casper where you see your crippling poison running off the warrior, and then you start sweating, because that's the point where you have to go in. Because good warriors in a duel will keep you in combat with their shouts, like Piercing Howl or Demo Shout. That keeps you in combat when you try to kite them in the range where they cannot charge hit you in your melee range.
Right.
So the shouts keep you in combat, so you cannot re-stealth. That's what the warrior wants, and he does it as long as the crippling is being on him. Because when you are in the dead zone, you also cannot reach him, so you cannot reapply the crippling poison. And he's waiting for that moment when crippling falls off. That's his moment. That's where he wants to put all his DPS into you. So as a rogue, you kind of have to deal with those moments when crippling falls off. and maybe get a lucky re-stealth, maybe cover it with blind. It depends.
I mean,
It's
people were saying the
like,
rogue mage matchup, the rogue mage duel is probably is 50-50 and is entertaining, and there's a lot of finesse at play. I mean,
yeah.
do you generally feel that rogues? I mean, as kind of a noob dude, I always assumed that warriors could do pretty well against rogues.
Yes. I mean,
that they're
it's-
generally
it's-
favored in that matchup. Is that do you feel that way?
It is a counter class, obviously, because the improved overpower, when they spec into the improved overpower, it just kills you because you cannot dodge overpower, and it also procs when you dodge, and you will dodge at some point.
Right.
So as a rogue, so it's a huge boost from warriors.
It kind of negates your
And-
whole evasion cooldown too, right? I mean, is it worth using at certain points or?
Yeah, I still think it's worth using because I mean, since I said you will dodge anyway at some point,
Okay.
he will overpower you anyway. So and with evasion you can at least dodge the mortal strike, the auto hits. You will have to tank that overpower. It's no way around. So
Okay.
you can try to kite him or outkite it, but it's pretty hard to do. At some point you will just get overpowered, and then you have to play around those deep wounds he's applying when he crits. So you cannot re-stealth, or you have to re-stealth in between those dot ticks that it doesn't break your stealth. Same with vanish, and so on. So you have to kind of, I don't know, you have to play a little bit tricky to get used to a warrior, and you still have this little percentage left of RNG. I mean, poison, like poison is like 30%, I think, crippling poison appliance. And then you can boost it with 5% if you have 3 tier 2 pieces equipped, and then you can spec into it, but I mostly don't use a spec where I have improved poison proc chance. So I have around 35% poison proc chance on one hit, and sometimes you just don't, he doesn't need it. It doesn't proc, and then he has so much time to hit you, and you cannot run away, whatever. Or if you face a dwarf, he can just zone form it or whatever.
Ooh, that seems really good.
really
Yeah,
hard.
dwarf. Oh man.
So there's a lot about those duels, and I would say at this point it's still 50-50 because there's so much that can go bad, and there's so much that can go in your favor if both people are equally skilled. So I would also rate it as a 50-50.
Wow, damn, that's crazy. What do you think, Taka? Being from the warrior perspective, do you do pretty well against rogues usually?
Yeah, I mean, like Sorrana says, it's some, there's a lot of RNG involved, and the problem now is, that it's hard to test because, I mean, there's so much lag, or I don't know what's going on the servers, right? It was fucking teleporting all over, and it's hard to kite people, and I don't know. I don't know what's going on the private servers, but it seems like there's a lot of shit. And it's hard to duel correctly because even if he's, out of range, he's still hitting you and stuff like that. But yeah, I feel a big thing that a lot of warriors, get wrong is that they think that they need to, start the duel real fast. I mean, just be patient, and the rogue is gonna, if you're finding the rogue is gonna disappear and reset the fight. So I mean, don't be stressed, just take it easy.
Are you able to prevent him, like, with pretty high consistency from re-stealth? And that's a big deal, right? If the rogue is able to slip out and let you blow a bunch of cooldowns and reopen from stealth again, that's pretty much seems like a bad situation. Can you consistently keep a rogue in combat, you think?
I mean, people like Sorrana is gonna, and that's when the RNG comes in. It's like you have to kind of feel where he is, and you have to kind of trick him to, maybe you're using grenades, or a good rogue will understand where you're trying to go, and if you're gonna use demo shot. And I'm not sure if in classic you'll be able to see the rage bar on your, the
on the
opposite
enemy,
guy and stuff like that. Yeah, because if he can see my rage, then he knows that, and as soon as that rage bar goes down, he knows that he can do whatever he wants. And so there's this chance you have to take. if you got a lot of rage, sitting in like a circle stance and just waiting for him to hit you, and you know, using circle rage and get out of you know, stuff, and then instantly get him like piercing howl or demo or whatever, put a bleed up. But yeah, it's hard against good rogues. They know that they're not gonna kill you in 10 seconds. They're gonna fucking bait you and kite you, and yeah.
I think that's one important thing with WoW in general, right? You don't want to blow your load too quick, guys. You want to have that endurance. You want to have that stamina, right? Like, you know, going in there, even in arenas and stuff, going in and just popping all your offensive cooldowns right off the bat, that's like the most noob way to lose, dude. People just try and bait it out. As soon as they do that, lights out.
Yeah.
So like
The thing is, if you are a warrior, you don't have to worry much about re-stealths. You will resist it anyway. The open. So frustrating as a rogue. Like if you go horde, and if you want to play a warrior and you want to PvP, just go orc. Same with like everything. Just go orc. It's so broken. It's it makes me mad all the time. I had a duel once on my stream in Felwood against a warrior, and I did like 6 stuns, the first 6 stuns with like opener, kidney shots, re-stealthing, opener, and kidney shots. 6 stuns in a row were resisted. And they are still trying to talk me into that's 20% only.
That's 20%.
Maybe 30 when they spec into it.
Well, it could be bugged on the private servers, maybe. People were speculating that. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Is it the type of thing where if you get like a full kidney shot resisted, do you just try and go for the reset? Like, is it just is the flow of combat already just fucked up at that point?
Yeah. I mean, it is fucked up, and then you have to see if crippling poison is still applied. It's not a biggie. You just try to gain distance again. Maybe you put a expose armor, eviscerate, or bleed on him. Like I like the little bleed on the warrior just to make him suffer while I try to kite him. And it's not for that long, and it's not like insane damage, but it's still something.
It's pure damage, right? Just like the poison. So I mean, it's not being impacted by the armor. So it's interesting.
It's still not much though. I mean, but they have this little self heal. What is it called, Taka? Where the
blood craze.
Blood craze, exactly. Where you gain like 50 HP or something, and the I think 1 or 2 combo point bleed is rapture is like 50, 60 damage max, something like that. So you just keep it plus minus 0 while you kite.
Oh,
I see.
But you can also save the combo points if you wanna. I don't know if you want to go for the next. But if you have a high energy pool and you have a lot of combo points on your target, why not use it and build new ones? I mean, if the kidney fails, you don't kidney with like 1 combo point.
No.
Like from
like,
2 or 3 plus.
Regarding all the scripting and shit on the private servers, it's like you can have the same dice rolling, when you're stunning an orc, right? So if you can throw a dice, but the problem is that on a private server you might have 100 different sides on the dice, but there might be the same number on 20 sides. So I mean, I'm not into how they script their private servers, but yeah, like Sorrana said, 20% is 20%, and if you're stunning an orc and they're resisting fucking 8 out of 10 times, that's not 20% in my book. Sorry for the peeps.
No worries. So okay, so back to the original point. If you guys had to describe the general flow of like the power spikes for your respective classes throughout vanilla, is there a way you could kind of elegantly do it, like really simply kind of broad strokes type thing, like starting from, let's say you hit 60, everyone's getting pre-raid bis, all the way to Nax? I assume you guys would be kind of in the same boat, both being physical melee damage dealers, but maybe not.
Yeah, so physical damage is superior in the early stages of the game. I mean, warriors are kinda weak a little bit because you have those pre-bis stuff. The most and best pre-bis stuff is still leather. You're wearing a lot of leather, so you're an easy target for something like a rogue. And the most stuff the rogue is using, he will use for a long time as well. So and you won't gain much more armor and stuff. The only thing that increases a lot for you as a rogue is weapons at some point. But still, you are very good off at the beginning of a fresh server because like things like eviscerate or rupture, it's always static damage. It's just boosted by attack power at some point. So if you gain more attack power, it will deal a lot more damage. But you still have this static basic damage from the beginning on that your ability is delivering. So that's some kind of advantage you have as a rogue at least. And with casters, like against warlocks and priests, even mages in the beginning of the server as a rogue, only from that point of view now, as a rogue, it's a lot easier than you get into progression because the mana pool is lower, the health pool is a lot lower. So even though they try to kite you can bring so much DPS into them when you reach them at some point that they cannot tank those hits to survive, and that gets a lot worse with like BWL patch or PvP gear.
Do you think that's the turning point? BWL, is that where people start to get a bit more robust?
Yeah, that's where some classes that were kind of easy get harder for rogues. That's where I think my personal opinion is that the patch around BWL, like 1.6, is the best balanced patch in PvP for most of the classes.
Interesting. Okay.
That's where you bring it, and that's the reason why most of those high class PvP players play on a private PTR with that patch, where you can buy those items from BWL, but not higher. And they have upgraded PvP sets as well, I think, on those servers. But somewhere around 1.6, that's where I think vanilla is the most balanced in its entire item progression. That's just speaking from experience and my own opinion. Maybe someone else will disagree. I don't know.
Now, with respect to rogues, are there certain pieces that, I know for certain classes, certain items that they can pick up are really, really like important. Like they make a big difference. Is there anything that comes to mind immediately with rogue that, what a certain raid releases or something happens? Is there something that's a huge deal or not so much?
Yeah. So at the beginning, the first huge boost you can gain is tier 1 with the plus energy on the 5-set bonus, and maybe the dagger from Ragnaros when they implement it, but I think that should be BWL patch. So the Perdition's Blade is a huge DPS boost, because it's like the highest DPS dagger in the early progression you can get until Grand Marshal's dagger, and then AQ is the next one, the next higher one. So Perdition's Blade is kind of easy to get. Everyone can clear Ragnaros these days, so you can get it pretty easily. And the tier 1 5-set bonus is just giving you that extra little tick in case something like misses and you still have this little energy to get another gouge or blind in, something like that. That's a huge boost. And obviously later on, when CG releases with 1.7, the CG trinket.
Oh, right.
Like every 3 minutes you just have this 60 instant energies, and it doesn't even share a cooldown with Facility. So if you want, you just gain 100 from Facility and 60 from the trinkets. So you gain 160 energy in a second.
Just real quick, I just want to shout out Adrenaline PvP Twitch with the tier 1 subscription, dude. Thank you very much, man. Really appreciate you giving the stream a shot, man. Thanks a lot, man. Happy New Year. Okay. That's great. So those are the two main early power spikes as a rogue. And you're saying BWLs when people start to get a bit more tanky. I guess it's not necessarily downhill from there, but it's just, you have to change the playstyle a bit, like you were saying, in order to beat people at that point, because people aren't dying as fast as they once did. They have more resources to work with. Is it a similar deal for you, Taka? I mean, do you feel like warriors are pretty weaker early on? And what are some of the power spikes that come to mind?
I mean, I think the warrior gets. I mean, this is like true in almost every like game or expansion that they do. The melee normally just fucking takes off, as the game progresses. But you definitely are more depending on support from other classes in the start, because like Sorrana say, I mean, as a warrior, you really depend on good armor and high HP, you know, because if you're fighting a mage, you kind of it doesn't matter what DPS you're doing if you can't survive one frost nova, you know. So yeah, I say as the game goes on, really nice is when you get like Bone Reaver's Edge from a Ragnaros, it's like crazy damage, and you have the armor debuff, and which pretty much takes mages down to like I think like zero armor,
Mm.
and yeah, that's a really nice thing to have. I would say every warrior should have Bone Reaver's Edge, whatever you're doing. And then as Blackwing Lair progresses, you get some really tanky items. You get the nice shoulders and helms. You get the stuff like Life Giving Gem, which is a pretty nice oh shit button.
Yep.
And then you get, I mean, as BWL hits, you should probably try to get some ranking gear because the warrior set bonuses are pretty dope. You have plus 20 stamina, which is huge. That's like one extra item. And then you have 40 attack power, which is also pretty sick, right? So, and I mean, those are good for whatever you're doing, right? If you're a tank, if you're doing PvE, if you're doing PvP, I would say those items are nice to pick up because, I mean, it all comes down to surviving, right? And yeah, so I'd say the same. And then when you hit AQ, you have, I mean, especially as an orc, you get the crazy axe, the Dark Edge of Insanity, which is
Oh yeah, Dark Edge.
yeah, I mean that's some crazy shit. And then Nax Ramas, but I mean, yeah, that's a long way.
Now this is something that's coming to mind. By the way, Bone Reaver's Edge looks fucking sick, dude. This looks awesome. This looks so strong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where does this come from again?
Ragnaros.
Oh, it's off Rag. Okay. Now,
Yeah.
like you know, there's tons of pre-raid BIS lists, and you see all the spreadsheets and stuff. And like Sorrana was saying, warriors gonna be rolling around in leather. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but are there a lot of pre-raid? I mean, like PvP, you know, pre-BG gearing lists? Like, is that a thing? Like to have, you know, if someone is just hard charging, their mind is set, they want to do as little PvE and as much PvP as possible. They're going to be spending the vast majority of their time doing PvP. Do these lists exist? Is there a difference? You know, I assume that the warrior wouldn't be rocking Devilsaur in that situation.
Well, I haven't seen one. But the thing is, early game you're so low in any stats, like in as a melee for example on hit. Like even in PvP you need those 6% hit to not miss your yellow attacks, your special attacks. So because it's so rare at the beginning of the game, you kinda want that pre-bis gear to get those stats you really need. Because who wants to miss a 60 energy backstab on someone? It's just wasted and gone, and you didn't do any damage. So you need that 6% hit, for example. And I mean, when the first battleground rewards come out, I think it's hard to say when they will release in Classic, but then you can start to swap a few items, like, or if you rank up, like to rank 3, 5, and 4 and stuff, where you get the bracers with a lot of stamina on them and so on. You can swap those out, but you have to get those little tiny but crucial stats like hit going for you.
Yeah.
So, and same with crit. Crit is so rare in the early game on those items. It like if you only stack stamina in PvP, yeah, of course you will get a little bit more tanky, but also you won't get anything killed.
Okay.
So there's a mix, and I think you're pretty good off with pre-raid BIS. So if you farm that, you can raid with it, you can PvP with it, because everyone else will just do the same.
It seems like with Rogue too, when you're really, it's so dependent on you putting out a huge burst of tempo and damage. It may not be a huge difference. I mean, especially with Rogue, where you're wearing Devil Sword, that's your natural armor set. But I'm thinking with classes like maybe with Warlock, their pre-raid bis is that crafted cloth set that has like no stamina on it. Like they're literally the squishiest pieces of shit. I'm imagining you're gonna have to change that if you're gonna BG, right as soon as the honor system is releasing, because that's how it's gonna work in Classic, right? Like the game's gonna come out, there's gonna be no honor, everyone's gonna get the 60 and start doing professions, start doing everything they can, and then the honor system is gonna drop like just someday, right? Almost like a raid. So I feel like people are gonna be preparing for it, maybe trying to like optimize their gear around the introduction of the honor system. It might be kind of an interesting situation. I don't know.
I mean, it's different. I mean, you're totally right. There are some things, for example, in CG. I don't know when CG is releasing, if it will be before the honor system or after or whatever. But CG has so many items, like those items that you can use for the enchants and to trade in for the chests and what is it, legs, I think. For mages, for example, the chest has so much stamina and so good stats around it that you want to use that before you get those rank 10 stuff, for example. And same as a rogue, those CG sets are pretty good, but the question is, when will it release? Before or after the PvP rewards? So yeah, because early on, I don't think, I mean, as a rogue, tier 1 is kinda okay, but you're still squishy, so you wanna get all the stuff that is off the set, like for example, let's say, I don't know, neck, for example, something like that you cloak, maybe, that you get those on a little bit mixed with your stamina. So yeah, but it's hard to say, because most battleground rewards or honor rewards are those that make you tanky in PvP.
Now, do you know offhand the point at which the rank 14 weapons become replaced? Is it literally Nax, like the first Nax weapon?
It is KT.
Oh, it's KT.
It is KT. You get the best weapons from Kel'Thuzad, like the one-handers. So as a Fury or a Rogue, you want Grassil and what is the main hand? I don't know.
Is it just KT though, dude? It's just KT? Like the other shit in Nax is still worse? Or...
I mean, you can get the misplaced servo arm from the trash loot, which is really good in PvP as well, if you use that, because it has, like, as a rogue, it has the same proc like Maelstrom card that ignores armor, so you can use that. But if you have things like the Kree Ripper or something from AQ, that's more DPS for PvE at least. But for PvP, you could get the misplaced servo arm. If you find a little group, I think with like 10 people plus or something, you can farm trash in Nax without getting saved in the ID. So you can farm those trash misplaced servo arms.
What is it called? Misplaced
servo arm.
Oh yeah, servo arm. There you go.
Yeah. It's a mace. Yeah.
Yeah. And
it doesn't have really good stats, but it has nice damage. No other stats, but this proc is really nice for like dueling.
And it procs better when you have two.
Okay, I don't know. I never had it myself because I just used the rank 14 swords. Maybe on this character I play now. But the thing is, if you use it in PvE, it's worse because you obviously want to use swords because of the extra swing you get as a warrior and rogue. And the extra swing is just too good not to have it.
Yeah,
so you never want to use those. And that's the same reason why the Kree Ripper from AQ is better than the servo arm when you use it in PvE progression until you get those KT swords.
So I mean, how many, is it a bunch of weapons in Nax that are better than rank 14?
Only KT weapons for rogues, like in PvP, PvE, yeah, and PvP wise, I would say.
Well, and the servo arm too, right?
Yeah, the servo arm is, I don't think it's better than the rank 14.
It has the crit, right? I mean, I guess, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the AP and crit and the max and the min damage of the rank 14 weapons, that's something hard. And I think it's 0.1 slower, the main hand, from rank 14.
This is 0.2 slower, right? Then let me see.
Yeah. I think the minimum damage is such a underestimated stat.
Why is that?
Because your whites just hit higher.
38. Oh, yeah.
If it can't hit lower than that stat, it's obviously better. And if you have more max damage as well.
What about for warriors, Taka? Is it the same situation where Nax is, you know, a couple weapons and Nax are gonna be better?
I mean, you have the same thing. People are going for the Hungry and Cold and Gressel, the KT. But the thing there is that those weapons will probably be prioritized for like humans, you know, because it has the plus sword. So most likely the humans will get them first. So I don't know. If you're not playing a human, then you won't probably see them for a long time. Right.
I mean, the thing with Naxxramas and getting PvP gear is that it's hard to use, because with the release of Naxxramas, sadly, PvP is dead on your server, because there's no reason to rank, obviously, because everyone is just getting better stuff from the raids, so you don't really rank anymore. And those few people who are left who have like fun only PvPing, it's such a minority that you don't really feel the need to equip yourself for PvPing anymore. And it starts with AQ. So the sets getting upgraded in 1.9, like the blue and the epic sets get upgraded with 1.9 in their stats, where you get like all the hit and crit on the caster sets, on the epic sets, and so on. And after that, there's basically no reason anymore to rank, because even AQ casters get a lot better gear for that. Melees could use a few PvP items, same like Hunter. I think this multi-shot bonus for Hunters is like this till end game, but still it's only those two pieces or what it is. So there's the ranking or the PvP will die out. You will have a bit world PvP here and there just because you will face people, but sadly, the truth is that PvP is like competitive PvP is not existent anymore at that point.
Yeah. Unless you turn it into an esport or some shit like that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But it's like I feel they have the same thing in every like expansion. Like when you had arena games and shit like that, they always brought it to, I think it was like tier, you know, the season 2, or they never took shit to, you know, season 3 or season 4. Always had it on this kind of leveled playing field for every class and stuff like that. And I think it's the same in vanilla, you know. Yeah, like BWL maybe is probably the most fun, and also when PvP is first released, it's obviously most relevant to rank, because you'll have this huge advantage. But then suddenly when people get Might of Menethil from Kel'Thuzad, and they just have all these things from PvE content, then it's crazy, you know. They just fucking two-shot you, and it's game over.
I see.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to pre-BG BIS, let's say that the honor system is going to release tomorrow. You're a warrior. You have all your pre-raid BIS. Are you gonna go into that BG with Devil Sword and shit on? I mean, you're gonna switch to what would you do personally, Taka? Would you find some plate pieces that?
Well, I mean,
especially knowing how much you consider armor, but yeah.
I mean, you need that +5 hit, right? And that's you know, I'm not sure if it's definitely an advantage, but I know like Horde has this quest you can do, which gives you a plus hit trinket, which is, you know, huge. You don't have to nerf your gear. Then you have rings, stuff like that with plus hit. So, but I don't know. You have to kind of think a little bit for yourself and feel, you know, maybe it's better to go with +3 hit, and you know, make sure you. I mean, you can cap at 5 hit or 6, but if you have 3,000 HP, then I mean, what are you doing as a warrior? You're gonna get I mean, it's impossible to live, right? So I'd say that always go with the gear that doesn't get you, like my man said, Laddie on in Salad Bakers. Go with the gear that doesn't get you global. You know,
Okay.
and that's yeah,
But it's actually hard to get those gear. I
yeah.
never played warrior, but in that case, when we have the Devil Soul question, I don't know what else you could replace it for. Because I mean, Devil Soul is really strong, even in PvP. It has so much attack power, hit. It even has crit, and it has stamina on it. So it is kind of those things you don't want to swap out.
You can get as a warrior, you can get Edge Master's Hangars, and you can go with Arcanite Reaper. You know, you can.
Maybe you swap out Cadaverous. Cadaverous doesn't have much stamina. It's really nice in
only-
PvE because it has a lot of attack power, but it doesn't have a lot of stamina. So if you find anything like that, but I don't
mean,
know what
most
plate
most
is.
most warriors go with a lot of dungeon. You know, the tier 0, right? Because you have a lot of stamina on it, and yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Also
I would
really
rather pick. I would rather, but yeah. So the problem is that you can craft Lionheart Helm, but the chances are that nobody cleared and nobody got the drop to be able to craft it. But if you can pick that shit up, then I would definitely, as a warrior, pick up Lionheart Helm so you can.
Isn't that
drop.
best like the whole way through or some shit?
Yeah, and I mean it's very very expensive, but you'll get that 2% hit, and then you don't have to worry about wearing too much leather for.
But the
PvP.
thing is, it drops from Ragnaros, right? The plans?
Yeah.
Or
I
MC?
mean, it should be dropping from Onyxia as well.
Oh,
At least,
okay.
Yeah, at least
I don't
that's
know.
what it says in the database. But I mean, back in the day, I think that they had a maximum of 1 drop per server, some shit like that.
Jeez.
Only one, yeah. So it's like was maybe one, or if people migrated to the server, had multiple people doing it. But I remember we had one person on Horde that could craft Lionheart Helm. So I think the drop rate and shit is not working as it should. I mean, if you're going through a raid on these private servers, you have shit dropping all over the place. And when we did it in Classic, I mean, maybe our guild was really unlucky, but certain things dropped once and never again. Not for any other guild ever. People were farming AQ 40 for more than a year, and I was still the only person who could do plus 15 agility on gloves. So I mean, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how it's working and stuff like that in Classic.
I mean, for Rogue tier dungeon set, the first dungeon set, Shadowcraft, is not that bad. I mean, at the beginning, for some reason, they put 21 intelligence on your boots instead of agility. I don't know if that was a bug back then, but if they do it Blizz-like, it will be 21 intelligence, so it's entirely useless, but you will need it for the set bonus. And the set bonus of regaining energy, it's ridiculous how often it procs. It's insane, but I think it's the 8 set bonus or 6 set bonus, so you have to have a lot of those set pieces to make it work. And it's kind of nice in PvP if you're starting really at the beginning.
I see.
And one thing that's when I'm writing this warrior guide, I'm actually analyzing and more understanding. And I mean, obviously, people who done spreadsheets for 5 years kind of think that I'm a fucking noob. But I mean, there's so many things that Blizzard thought of when they did all these items that we thought that, what the fuck is this? But when you play it today and you actually understand what those stats were meant for, you'll be amazed on the improvements that you're seeing and shit like that. And yeah, it's I don't know. I'm not into rogues. I don't understand everything that's going on there, but at least on warriors, you see all these items, and when you hit a certain, let's say you have like everyone is using +5, but there's a lot of items that has defense on it as a warrior, and if you gain a little bit of defense, suddenly the other person needs 1% more hit, you know, to just equal the chances. And there's a lot of items that has plus defense on it, especially when you hit AQ. And I mean, it's crazy to just analyzing all that gear and seeing what it does for you as well in PvP, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure about rogues and all the intellect there. But I guess it was a druid. Druids use that gear as well, or
Yeah, they can, but it wasn't. I just think someone fucked it up while coding it, and then they saw the bug and fixed it later because they swapped it from intellect to agility later on in another patch.
no? Wasn't it the same with druids? They did not have as much intellect on their PvP gear from the start. I think I remember something like that, and then they
I have no idea, to be honest.
I
Never
think they
played
boosted
it.
it and they put more intellect and shit on that, and
As
kinda
long as
like-
they have the 4-set bonus to run the flag, I don't care.
yeah, yeah.
Doing their job. Now,
Doing
the
their
next
job.
point we have on here, we were going to talk about gold farming. Now, this is, I think, the real question to me. So, again, just to reiterate, Classic's going to come out. Honor System's not going to be there right away. So, it's not like you're going to hit 60. It's not going to be a mad dash to start ranking. You're going to have some time. If you're going to primarily PvP, you're going to have some time to set up. Now, the question that comes to mind is, as you know, rogues and warriors aren't known as being the best gold farming classes. Of course, there are kind of ways you can do it. You can farm gold. Or is the real good line of play just to level a mage or level a hunter, or maybe even level a mage or hunter first? Or
You haven't seen Sorrana and Sulgurub.
Well, I mean, but the group might come later than the ranking, so you might not get
that's
that to
true,
work.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
as a rogue, you can solo farm bloodvines in CG, and bloodvines, every caster need bloodvines because it's the abyss for a long time because of their spell hit on the set.
Mm-hmm.
So you will always sell those, but China does its part on this. They also know how it works, so it went from 15 gold a bloodvine to 3 gold a bloodvine now in 2 weeks or something.
Damn.
So they kind of destroyed the market. But I think maybe on Classic, if you have people who don't know how it works, then you can do a lot of money. But it also depends if that's before the ranking system or after the ranking system. But yeah, as a rogue, it's hard. I struggled with getting gold at the beginning, especially for Devil Soul shit, because on private servers you have the people who do the Devil Soul Mafia stuff we all know about now, and if you're not a part of it, you will have to pay a lot for it. And getting this gold as a rogue is kinda hard. Also, your gear sucks at the beginning. So the thing you can do as a rogue is you can farm Fiery Weapon in BRD from that one rare. There's a rare spawning Pyromancer, whatever he's called, Pyromancer something, behind the arena thing. And he can drop the Fiery Weapon enchant. And people use that for the mob tagging boost, and also for the RP effect, and for just collecting everything. And you can sell those for like 150 to 100 gold each. And the chance of dropping it is kind of high. It's like 40%, something of that. So you can do a lot of gold with that. But the thing is, he has like 2 non-elite guards, and he himself is really strong as well. So you kind of need some gear to kill him, to make it work, make it efficient. If you can't do that, I suggest you go either Scarlet Monastery or RFD, and maybe BRD if you're higher in stealth, and you just go pickpocket all the logbooks. Because in like Scarlet Monastery, you have a retarded high chance to get blue BOE weapons out of those for this level range. So like the Silver Blade and whatever. So it's really nice weapons you can get out of there. And you can sell those in the auction house for like 4 or 5 gold each. And really, in 1 hour you can get like 5, 6 of them if you're lucky. It's not that low of a chance. And as I understood, on private servers these days they nerfed the lock boxes on a higher level, like on BRD, because you can get a lot of those gut rippers out, and even like Alakazor's Sunrazor, what it's called, the tank weapon. And I think on Nostalrius they banned it from the loot boxes, so you couldn't get it out of them anymore.
Huh, so that could be a change that's not in official Classic, because the private servers actually made a change to adjust it. That's the thing, actually. So I don't know if you guys know this, but a lot of the really good farms have been fucked with by the private servers.
Yeah.
Like even mages being able to go into BRD and do that whole fucking farm killing all the dwarves. They made it so they I think they're called I forgot the name, the Anvil Warden or something like that. They net you now. I think that wasn't in their regular hitbox, their regular spell list. They've nerfed some aspects of Maraudin. They fucked with some of the stuff. So it'll actually be really interesting to see what it's like come Classic. So do you feel like pretty good about Rogue gold farming? It may not be the best, or do you think it's it's fine?
Yeah, it's okay to survive, but you still have to put more time and effort into it than other classes. But you're not entirely lost. So it's possible to survive only as Rogue.
And how intensive on the bank is it to really PvP at a high level? Is it?
Hard question. I mean,
are you PvE or only PvP?
I mean, you have to do a little bit of both in order to get the gear you need to be successful.
So
in PvP,
that means that if he's gonna be a hardcore player, he has to respec at least once a week, right?
Yep.
Yeah, 2 times. You have to spec back to.
So that's 100 gold. That's 100 gold.
Yeah.
After a couple of weeks.
Every week, yeah, and then you have like if you have a try-hard guild in PvE, you also want to get all those consumables, right? You have no time when you're ranking to farm echoes. You have no time to farm flowers. Maybe in queue sometimes you can farm a few flowers when you're on that faction that has higher queue times or longer queue times than the other. But otherwise, if you just get instant queue, you have absolutely no time to farm anything until you're capped with your honor. And the thing is, because you don't have that time, you have to buy the stuff for your raids if you're not prepared. Same with consumables for PvP. If you haven't saved like an entire bank character of swiftness potions or maybe free action potions, then you have a lot of trouble buying those because they are expensive. Like free action potions are really expensive at the beginning because there are no fish schools before patch 1.9. So everyone who's getting those oily black mouths has to stand there an hour to get the stack or something like that. So they are expensive.
So how do you fund it as a rogue? That seems insane. I mean,
yeah, I did it on the job. I had no time to like farm another class or level on another class, so I tried to do it with the bloodwine farming, obviously, and because I was later in the Nostalrius, and Nostalrius had they had a longer timeline between the patches. I don't know if it was Blizz-like, but they had a huge gap between BWL and AQ release, but because AQ wasn't scripted right, so they couldn't release it. So we had a huge time span between those 2 instances and patch releases. So that's where CG came out and the Bloodwine prices were stable because no one could progress into new gear. So Bloodwines were always asked on the market. So that's how I did it. Because it was safe to farm, when I was honor capped on like, let's say Monday, you have Tuesday off usually, and Wednesday is reset, so you play again. And on Tuesday, I just went into CG, farmed those bloodwines, reset, and do the same again. And no one could kill you, you couldn't kill them, so you cannot break your own cap and stuff. So it was kind of a safe method to farm my gold. But also, I have to say, it wasn't kind of so heavy on those consumables, because everyone was struggling with getting gold while ranking, because caps were really high, about those 2 million
millions and millions of honor, right? It seems insane.
Yeah. So if you haven't a friend that's giving you gold every week or something else, then you will struggle at some point resupplying yourself, and everyone will just use the consumables in a very crucial moment when you really want to end this 3-hour war song or something, or beat that one pre-made. And these days now, when people like have more time and lower caps and so on, they have more time to farm, the more gold on the market, things are lower in price than they were in Nostalrius. So you can use a lot, and you can afford a lot of more consumables. So it always depends on the economy.
I see. How about you, Taka? Is it do you have an alt to farm with as a warrior, or do you find ways to do it? And
I mean, I did on Nostarius. I leveled a mage to 60, and I farmed the Dire Maul East, and that pretty much funded my way through the ranking. And well, when I was closing in on 13, I told the other officers in the guild that it was too hard for me to, because I think we were fucking raiding twice a week at one point, and it was just too taxing for me to farm 200 gold plus consumables for, whatever. So they came to the decision that, they were gonna give me 500 gold, so I could, it could ease my, time consumed, and that helped me a lot. But I would say, if you have a healing friend as a warrior, I would most definitely farm Dire Maul East all day long, and just disenchanting and mining all day, and you get those Furor's compendiums of dragon slaying, whatever it's called, for the Kelsarar quest. I mean, they sell for some nice chunk of gold, and I mean, sometimes we got 2 or 3 of those in like one day. So I mean, you can make thousands of gold per person if you're 2 guys farming Dire Maul East. I mean, it's fucking nice. But in the start, when you don't have the best gear, it can be a challenge to time cooldowns and just, but after you did it like 2 or 3 times, you get the timing, and
So I missed it a little bit. You're doing DM East with the mage? You're partnering up?
Yeah, I did that. But as well, if you don't want to level a mage, I said that you can, if you're a warrior, just find a healer and run Dire Maul East farms on that. You run the whole dungeon, and you just disenchant everything, and mine. There's 2 or 3 rich thorium veins at the end, and if you get arcane crystals and shit, I mean, it's some nice gold from that place. So yeah, at least a couple of thousand every day if you're doing that shit.
That's really good. Wow.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't think there's a lot of things that even comes close to the amount of gold you can make in Dire Maul East as a 2-man crew.
Yeah, but you mean, if you say a day, you mean a day.
Yeah, I'm
like
talking,
those 2 hours.
I'm talking like you're doing this shit for 10 hours, right?
Yeah.
And you just, because there's no use. You have to think of it like efficiency. So people are thinking that, I'm going to go to Dire Maul East and we're going to do that, and they do it maybe 2 or 3 or 4 times, and they're like, we're making a nice chunk of gold, but it takes you 40 minutes to go there, right? So just do it once, take a day and fucking run through that shit for 10 hours, and then you don't have to do it for a couple of weeks, right? Because if you're going there and it takes as long for you to go there as it does for you to farm the dungeon, like
you're just wasting time. Yeah,
wasting time. Yeah, and that's the thing that you have to make sure that you're being efficient all the time when you're doing ranking. It's time, because time is, there's not enough time and you'll find out the hard way, or you know, you just listen to other people telling you what you know, giving you tips. And one thing that I was trying to make sure that I was always using time as efficient as possible. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you also need a lot of good friends sometimes. I was in this situation when blood wine prices were low. I was nearly finishing ranking, but there was this one pre-made, and I need the consumables, and I had to ask for gold if I could get a loan from a guildie, because I couldn't just handle it anymore. It was too much for me. I kept so high, I just couldn't farm. I had no time, and I need to sleep at some point, you know. And then yeah, so shout out at Dobin. Thanks for the 500. Really,
Hey, Tobin,
really
if
nice.
you're out there, dude, shout out to you. You got him as rank 14.
Yeah.
Now I feel somewhat opinionated on this. Again, I don't really have the PvP experience you guys have, but I do think there is a line of reasoning that, you know, if the honor system is a bit far out and it's not going to be there on launch, if you are serious about PvPing, then you have a little bit of downtime. Especially if you're going to go super hard and try and get ahead of the pack. Unless you're in a really hardcore guild where like everybody's going super hard and you're gonna plan on, you know, raiding as soon as possible, you will have a little bit of downtime if you level pretty quick. I had a couple weeks that were kind of chill on Zethker, and you might want to consider just leveling a mage or a hunter first. Like, I don't know if DMEs is going to be available on launch. If it isn't, maybe level a hunter first and do the Maraudon farm. It's a solid 50-60 gold an hour, just going in there, killing all the bosses, selling the blues.
But you can do that as a mage as well, right?
Is a
I
mage in Maraudon?
Maraudon.
I don't think so. Because how you're gonna kill the bosses
Okay.
in Maraudon? Like, you can kite princess around? I don't know. Maybe.
I don't know. I think you just farm trash and sell those high grays, like you do in Diamond East.
Oh.
It's the same. If you
Interesting.
get those lashers, you get those gray, like, useless items basically.
It's true.
But the good thing about that is that you actually can sell them every time for the same price, so you have a safe income, not reliant on the economy.
Yeah, you can actually level there. You can actually level there as well. So, sorry, Taka cut out for a second. He'll be back, I think. But you can level there, like 50s. In the 50s, you can start. Or no, it's not even 50s. It might be like 46 to 53. You can level in Maraudon, killing those lasher packs. But I don't know. I don't know if that'd be more gold though than what the hunter could do. I'm not sure, because I mean, every blue that you get is selling for like 3 gold a pop, sometimes more if you get that gator bite axe, and you can get the mushrooms and stuff too. Yeah, but like, you know, pretty much leveling a mage or a hunter first, and then dungeon mob tagging your way to get your, like a rogue and a warrior. It's going to be pretty difficult to level those classes. So if you have a group of friends who are going to be willing to help you out, you can dungeon mob tag those through. So you'd level a mage first, and then, you know, you'd go through these dungeons. You'd start at like Dead Mines or RFC or whatever, and you tag these mobs, and you're able to get to 60 without all the stress of leveling that super hard tier 3 leveling speed class. And basically, you're going to have that other character to give you portals or food or whatever. And I think in the long run, it's kind of an investment of time. So, yeah, that's my kind of thought on it.
Yeah, I hate leveling really hard. So that was the only reason that prevents me from doing something like this. But it's maybe a good thought. I might take that into consideration, depending on the timeline when they will release it.
Certainly. Huizo just asked a good question too. He asked, for people with demanding day jobs, what classes are good and what rank can they reach? Huizo, I would recommend Warlock. I think is pretty solid. They don't need to get you'd want to pick a class that doesn't need rank 14 to be, you know, to have all their, you know, essential items. I think classes that only need like a rank 10 or something like that, because you were saying, right, Sorrana, that rank 10 is achievable by pretty much, you know, anyone. If you got a couple hours to put in per week, you can do it. It may be a little slow and steady, but you can get rank 10. And then from 10 to 11, it starts to get a lot more demanding, so on and so forth. So maybe something, probably not the melee classes. They tend to just have a harder time farming and stuff in general. Maybe something like a mage. Well, I don't know. What do you think about mage?
I mean, yeah, mage is good with rank 10 set as well. Like shoulders, I think, with the hit excel for a long time until epic gets updated, and also the 2 set bonus with the spell damage is really good for the caster classes. It's the same with like warlock, I think. And I mean, some warriors even go only to 12 because I think boots. I think boots and gloves are really good for them in PvE. I don't know. Maybe when Taka comes back, he can answer. But I have seen many warriors just stopping at 12 and being fine with it. They don't want to go for the weapon.
Yeah.
As a rogue, I mean, as a rogue, it's really hard. Either you do it or you don't.
There he is.
Yeah, I'm
He's
sorry.
back.
Man.
Oh, no worries, man. No worries. Let me put you back on here.
Yeah, internet went to Hawaii.
It's a nice place,
Yeah.
dude.
So
We find a little
so it's like I'm getting fiber, you know, getting a new internet service provider, but I did not think they would fucking cut it at 10 o'clock on on today.
There he is. Okay, we're back. Nice.
All right.
Got the... Just fixing Sorrana up here. So are you, we're just talking about like leveling other class stock. Are you going to start with a warrior or are you going to go mage first? What was your plan?
Yeah, so I mean, as I said earlier, you know, writing this warrior guide just makes me yeah, I feel like I gotta do the warrior thing again. So yeah, but I mean, we'll probably do the whole mob tagging thing again, right?
Mm-hmm.
In dungeons. So I guess it doesn't really matter what class I level first, because we'll just do, you know, if I'm leveling a warrior, I'll help you mob tag and I can tank, and the other way around if it's a mage, you know. So I guess I'll just go with whatever, you know, I feel like at the moment.
Yep, definitely. Yeah. So that's a whole aspect of the game, by the way, guys. The whole mob tagging and dungeon tagging thing, I'm really excited to explore. I'm going to make some guides on that. So let's start taking some questions from you guys. We have some good questions in here. When do you think Classic PTR will start? That's a quick one. I hope that this month we'll get our first update since BlizzCon. That's my prediction there. Maybe PTR. There's a chance that there's an internal Friends and Family Alpha going on right now. That's a possibility. You never know.
You think?
I have no idea. I mean, it could very possible. It could, you know, they're all under NDA and stuff potentially if there is one going on. But it is possible. They're working on the game in some way. So David Reed asks, if I was to hold steady at a rank 10, and then so just maintain rank 10, and then if he had 3 weeks off for leave. Oh, you're military man. Is it possible to get rank 12 in that 3 weeks? Now we'll assume maybe a 5K population. You think that might be possible, or it's too ambitious?
No. I mean, if he, like I said, if he goes with like high percentage from 10 into 11, like let's say he has like 90% into 10 and then swaps over to 11 and then has 3 weeks of time, I mean, I could calculate it exactly on RP, but from now on, when I don't have time to calculate it, I would say he might, like, he could get it, but he would need bracket 1 spots. And bracket 1 spots as a rank 10 or 11, not really realistic.
He would need the
so
connects,
I don't
dude.
think.
He would need the connects
Yeah.
or something. Okay. So what do you think that would take, though, for David to get from rank 10 to rank 12? Just a conservative estimate. What, 4 or 5 weeks, or?
Let's say I would say, yeah, 4 maybe. I mean, he could. You need around 2 weeks from 10 for 11 as a rank. Like from 10 to 12, you have this 11 in between. I think you can do it in 2 weeks if you're good. Depends on what bracket you hit. I mean, if you go for lower bracket 2 or for high bracket 3, you might get it and get high RP.
What would you get specifically at 12, though, too? I mean, 11 is when you get the mounts, right? So.
Yeah, on 12 you get the first 3 epic items.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, that's right.
The lower body items: boots, legs, and gloves.
Gotcha. All right, next question is the RGE dodge ratio on Night Elf as a warrior overlooked. Oh, that's Taka's favorite fucking question on the planet. He loves the Night Elf dream, dude. He's asking is how do you feel about Night Elves in general as warriors, Taka? Maybe give people a little taste.
Yeah. I mean, I love the Night Elf, right? Because I mean, number one, that Shadow Meld is just so fucking OP, and I mean, winning duels with it, in battlegrounds, fucking hiding, and with the engineering things like the parachute cloak and Noggenfogger elixir, you can slow fall from lumber mill and shit like that. And I mean, shadow melding, just sitting there is I mean, is one of the most fun things ever, And even if you're not playing warrior, the shadow meld is just people are chasing you. You can pretty much run around a corner and shadow meld, and
I think Shadow Meld's a pretty undervalued ratio potentially. There's stuff like what Sorrana was saying, guys. Like if you guys remember a few weeks ago, he was saying that there's like a kind of underlying passive stealth increase that it gives you. Like the stealth level is just increased, so like you almost have an advantage in against other stealth users potentially being able to detect them faster and things like that. That's part of it. I don't know if I'm not explaining it correctly, but
well, yeah. The short thing about is you can even read it in the tooltip. If you are a class that has stealth, like Druid or Rogue, it increases your stealth level passively, and that's by 5 points. So 5 points is exactly 1 stealth level. Means if you are level 59 and you gain 5 stealth points, your enemy would see you as level 60 on your stealth visibility, I would say.
I see.
So yeah, and it just gives you another stealth level. You are 61 basically. If you are max level and you get that passive racial, you have the stealth level of a level 61 player. That's long story short.
It's going to give you a slight edge of the stealth detection. So I think Connor, or we'll answer. We'll finish off Jeff's. I'd probably personally give the edge in PvE to human warriors, just with the plus skill to swords. But I don't think it's out of the question to play a Night Elf warrior at all. And I think don't let a slight edge like that determine your main. If you like the way Night Elves look, if you really want to play them, go for it, man. Connor asks, how strong in Paladin in PvP is vanilla? I kind of want to play one when Classic launches. So load up your questions now, guys. Just start thinking about them now. Drop them in the chat. We'll try and answer some. So right off the bat, Paladin, dude, I leveled a Paladin recently. Man, they are, you really do feel like a Swiss Army knife. You have so much utility. I also think it's a generally pretty straightforward class to play in many ways. Very strong. There's certain people that would make the argument that Alliance is stronger than Horde due to the impact of Paladins having Blessing of Freedom, Blessing of Sacrifice, oh shit buttons, multiple oh shit buttons. Paladins are very strong in vanilla for sure. So definitely, I don't know if you guys have an opinion on that, but I definitely think they're very strong in PvP.
Yeah, and I mean, I discussed this thing regarding the racials with a guy called Laddie in a Salad Bakers on and he's I asked him, but this is mostly regarding PvE, I guess, but it comes down to in all scenarios. I mean, what class will you play? And his answer to that is like, well, I just want people to play the class they enjoy the most, because if you're going to look at a class that you find ugly every second of the day, the chances are very, very big that you're going to re-roll or just stop playing entirely, So, I mean, certain classes have racials like Orc, but on Alliance side, I would argue that you can pretty much play whatever you want. If you want to play in the Elite class, then Gnome is, the 100% strongest racial, but the Dwarves are sick as well. But, I mean, I would choose a class that looks sexy and appealing to me, and that's pretty much why I chose Night Elf from the start, and I just learned to enjoy it.
All right. Next question is, what is the best class for heal in PvP? I think that one, it's it's not really too black and white. I think all the healers bring something to the table for sure. The other thing is, what is the most annoying, maybe counter class to a mage? I don't know about the hardest one, but right off the bat, I've heard feedback from good mage players that druids do quite well against mages. It's hard to get them into a sheep. They can break free of all their roots. Actually, resto druids can out attrition a mage in a lot of situations. So that's that. Next question is to Sorrana. He's asking, why do you play a night elf rogue, Sorrana? Why do you play night elf?
Why I play a night elf? Haka's lagging out.
I think.
You say, yeah. Friggin' Terminator over here.
Good robo voice. So
Yeah.
why I chose night elf at the first choice, I would like to say, is that it was never planned that I go any serious into PvE, so I didn't took human. So I didn't care about PvE at that point.
Yeah.
So I had a look at those other classes, and I know that Gnome is really good to get out of Frost Novas and shit, and Dwarf is really good against poisons and stuff, and blind. But I really appreciated the stealth level of the Night Elf, because the thing is, as a rogue, you have this talent Master of Deception,
Yeah.
and if you go like a PvP spec, you want to have absolutely no points or full points into it. So if you have no points in it, you are visible as like a normal PvE rogue, and it really sucks. You will notice pretty fast that everyone just sees you on like 10 yards distance. So it's really bad. And as a night elf, you can put 3 points into this talent. With your passive, you just you have those 2 points don't spend into it by your passive dealt.
Oh, so you get 2 extra talent points.
Yeah, you get 2 extra talent points.
Pretty juicy,
and that's a
right
pretty
there.
big deal for me.
Yeah, pretty
I like
juicy.
that.
Plus, they look way better. It'd be hard to kind of stomach playing a gnome rogue. That's like the antithesis of everything I like about life. So here we go. What class can stay with 1 spec and be equally PvE and PvP, or at least close? Joey, that's a great question. These in vanilla, you really can't have your cake and eat it too, unless you're an out-of-touch baller and you really have that gold on farm. So there is a use case for classes that, like the hybrid classes, I think actually really excel at being hybrids in a lot of ways. There's certain druid specs and certain paladin specs where you can kind of tank, heal, or DPS, at least the 5-man dungeons and stuff like that. So druid has definitely a spec, the resto feral hybrid spec. Paladins have the Blessing of Sanctuary spec, where they're primarily like prot, but they go into holy. It's like Holy Reckoning. So those are the 2 that come right off the bat. As you potentially don't have to respec. Is
Mage maybe.
Mage? Oh,
You
yeah.
can- if you hide it a little bit from your guildies, you can raid as a frost mage. I mean,
Same with priest.
you have
Same
you
with
have
priest.
to, okay. You have to use a lot of mana potions though, because you don't have the passive regen from the arcane tree maybe. But you can get away with
It's a
it.
greedy mage, dude. He's to get that mage money, and he's shaving off some respec
Yeah.
costs, dude.
But what you talked about earlier regarding big counters for mages in duels and stuff, I'd say that discipline priests or holy priests are really hard for a mage to kill. I mean, the only time I lost against a mage back in vanilla when I played my priest was if they were pump pyro.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, because they pretty much just fucking, if they didn't crit, they just resheeped you and, did the same thing.
Oh, damn. That sounds annoying to play against. Yeah. Okay, next question is Unstoppable Force pre-bis over dual-wield Dalrens for human PvE Fury Warriors? Unstoppable Force. That's the 2-hander, right?
Yeah, but you can't get the Unstoppable Force because Atrak Valley won't be out until BWL patch. So pre-raid this, I don't know, because we're looking at things before that is even released, right?
Yep. Okay, that's good. That's a good succinct answer to that. All right, we got a funny one from Kogot. Kogot's asking, is it more efficient to just get a steering wheel controller and a gas pedal and bind my druid keybinds to it for maximum flag running? Yes, it's more efficient. Do it and make a YouTube video about it, dude. Please.
Yeah, tutorial.
Yeah, tutorial. Okay. What are the best muscle groups to focus on in the gym if I'm maining a warrior? It's all the traps, dude. Only traps.
Yeah.
That's all you do every day.
Only traps. Yeah. It's like so you can get like this.
So your shoulders look good.
Yeah.
When you're streaming, dude. That's why if you're maining a warrior and you're streaming, you need to have traps like mountain peaks, like Taka's getting there.
You need some big ass shoulders.
Yeah, need some bit bolder shoulders. All right.
Yeah. And a big ass. Big ass. You want to sit comfortable, right? Yeah.
You had a good foundation, structurally sound physique. All right, how much slower do you think duo leveling will be compared to standard leveling? Wow, this is something I'm pretty passionate about. I'll answer it in a nutshell. So depending on your experience level with the game, duo leveling will actually be faster for a lot of people. If you're not super comfortable and familiar with a lot of the quests in vanilla, if you're not going to be ahead of the pack and you're going to be leveling with the majority of people, duo leveling IMO will be faster for a lot of people. And it's potentially even the fastest way to possibly level if you went duo mages is pretty insane. Okay.
And so much fun. Right?
So much fun. It's a social game. Yeah. So playing with a person, keep you motivated. All right. Orc or Tauren racial for PvP, Shaman, Elemental, Resto spec, hard time deciding. I have heard some feedback that War Stomp interacts, for some reason it interacts really well with Shamans, like with putting down totems or something like that. And, you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, a good War Stomp can get you an easy heal as a shaman. I mean, if it's like a little oh shit button, but I mean, if you're not slowed by a totem, you can predict and outrange it pretty easy as a rogue. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it can save you a heal, but as an orc, you won't get stunned most of the time, so you can heal anyway.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's the same thing as you have like this random RNG thing that can happen indefinitely every fucking time, compared to having one button that can only happen. What's the cooldown? Is it 3 minutes?
2-3 minutes, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you have to think. What would you rather have in a duel or PvP scenario, that you can indefinitely resist a stun or whatever, or would you rather have something with a 3 minute cooldown? I mean, it's up to you, but I mean, I would probably choose the never-ending fucking resisting stun.
The other thing is, we've talked about it before, is that you can play around War Stomp potentially, whereas opposed, the thing that makes it so frustrating, I think, for people like Sorrana, like, he's literally an Alliance rogue, is that you can't really play around it that well. Like, it just fucking happens and you get fucked up, and it can happen all the time. Do you have any ideas regarding very unconventional specs for more casual world PvP? For casual world PvP, stuff like Boomkin, like, you don't have to go potentially all the way into balance to get Boomkin, but balanced druids, out in open world PvP, pretty strong. Also, let me think, man. There's probably some
elemental mages. I mean, they are stronger in world PvP than they are in battlegrounds.
Right, is that the Pompyro mage, the elemental one, or is that different?
You don't need Pompyro into it. There's like a little spec where I have like the ice block and a little bit of scorch damage stuff.
Yep.
Impact.
I mean, stuff like even Solo Link Warlocks, potentially. I mean, I hope there's a niche for him in pre-mades, but if there's not, you're going to be a beast out in World PvP. What is the plans you guys have to get yourself out of the initial Zerg when fresh rolls come out? That's a good question, Dave. So pretty much just going to, right off the bat at launch, do a full 24-hour stream, try and get ahead of the pack as much as possible. Just help each other out, collaborate, communicate, stay on Discord. Really just do everything we can to stay ahead of the pack. Research your leveling route in advance. Have a plan. Execute on the plan. Be around smart people that are going to help you out. Are you worried about...
and meal prepping. So you can just... You can hit the John, take a leak, run into the kitchen, hit that microwave oven for 1 minute, and then go into the toilet. When you're finished in the toilet, you go out and pick up the food and run back, and then you're almost level 10.
You gotta have the fucking MMOtron 3000, that German machine where you literally piss into the tube and you're like, everything is like kept there. You need to buy one of those, dude. Put it on layaway. Okay. S-Priest is the best class for PvP 1v1? Question mark. I would say, personally, and that's why I'm kind of potentially leaning on it, I think Soul Link Warlocks. So Shadow Priests are known to be great duelers, though. Fantastic duelers, right? Even you were saying with the armor and stuff. So they got to be tier 1 as far as dueling.
Like I really saw many duel tournaments won by hunters only. Because they can just play around this Shadow Priest. I mean, the trap and multi-shots and stuff is so much burst, and all you get is the dot damage on you.
The weak point on the Shadow Priest is the mana pool, right?
Yep.
It's very, very, I mean, easy for a hunter to fucking you. But, yeah, I don't know.
Viper Sting.
I've seen a lot of...
As a Warlock, how do I easily show mercy to Shadow Priests in duels? Some nice kind emotes might do the trick, man, as you slowly destroy their life.
Slash whistle.
Slash whistle. There you go. Yep. Alright. Any final questions? Put them in there, guys. We've been streaming for 2 hours now. We're on the 2-hour mark. If you have any final questions, drop them in. Now's your chance. While we're waiting for questions, I will say, yet again, if you guys haven't subscribed, followed, done all that stuff with both Takanashi and Sorrana, they stream. They are maybe making YouTube videos, I'm not sure, but they definitely stream a lot. So check them out. Their links are in the description below. It's twitch.tv Sorrana199 and twitch.tv/the Takanashi. He is the Takanashi. So be sure to follow these guys just to support them. We'll be doing a lot of good stuff come Classic. So how is Warrior in World PvP? That's a broad question, but Warriors are strong. Quite strong, gear dependent, relying on having teammates to assist them, but Warriors quite strong. I don't know if you guys have YouTubes. Dave's asking if you guys have YouTubes. No? Oh, you do. You do, right, Taka?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you can type in the chat. He can follow you there. Yeah, Taka has one.
That's me. Everest Strength. I can't do it because I don't have internet.
Oh, you don't? Okay, it's Everest Strength. Yeah, I'll put it in for you here, David. Just Google this. Or you can hit him up in the Discord. Also, if you guys watching, join the Discord, man. I'm really trying to keep the Discord popping. So join the Discord. We're pretty active in there. Got a good group, and we will be using that Discord leading up to Classic and just keeping the community strong. So please join the Discord. And we'll take one last question. So Harsku asked a question: how much learning would you need to do to become a warrior tank without any prior knowledge? Maybe Taka, do you have an answer for him?
Yeah, you just have to read through the warrior guide that's coming out little by little. Me and Kargoz doing a collab on that, and we're starting to record tomorrow probably, and that's all you need. That's all you need. That's all you're ever going to need. And it's going to give you this huge opportunity to just be a great warrior.
Yep, here's your resource, Harsku. Hit up Taka. He's always happy to help and stuff. And it's not as easy as it is in certain other expansions, man, to tank as a warrior. You know, it does require some APM and some tab targeting and doing stuff like that. But it's not too bad. Nothing you can't handle, bro.
Yeah. Most importantly, just relax, and because I feel most people, when they're making mistakes, is when they try to stress through. You know, they want to get all that shit going. Just relax, get your tempo, and just have fun.
So again, guys, thank you so much for your time. We peaked out at about 200 viewers today. Really happy with the stream, especially considering I took a couple weeks off. So thank you so very much for your continued support. I really, really sincerely appreciate it. I have a lot of content in the pipeline coming out. I feel motivated, feel dedicated. I'm just ready to go. We're going to end the show here, and I'm going to host Sorrana. So Sorrana's going to have an after-show stream. I'm going to host him here. Thank you so much again for your time, guys. And I will see you next week or later this week with some videos and stuff. Until next time, take care. Happy New Year.